morning, just setting off on hopefully the longest of my training runs, 3 weeks out from the 100-mile event. I've got some new snacks to try, including some dry roast peanuts and some lovely blueberry bars. I'm hoping to do about, 30-35 miles this morning, feeling okay so far. I've also got my bank card and my face mask so that if it all goes wrong I can jump in somewhere and buy a drink or a Mars bar or call a taxi. See you in a few miles. Thought you might like that, your kind of humour. I'm about 6 miles in now. I've done an hour and 10 minutes, so it's very slow. That's part of the game here, is that you're trying to run a pace you can keep going for 24 hours. That's our plan. Thought I'd just tell you a bit about Nick, who I'm running with. So Nick is one of my best friends. He's also blind and he loves to run ridiculously long distances. He can do a lot of his training in his garage on a treadmill, but he can't do races on his own, so he's reliant on a guide. So we're going to run together and we'll be holding a strap like this. Well, that's how you hold things, you can't see the strap. There are some photos of us having done previous races where we're running and holding hands, but I'm sorry to disappoint you and say that we don't run the whole way holding hands. It would start to rub after a while. In fact, you can't even get your arms rubbing just holding this strap, so you have to wear little arm protectors. Nick loves to run super long distances. He's actually quite experienced when it comes to ultra marathons. I'm not, but I have guide run him to a PB in a half marathon, and I've guide run him to a PB in a full marathon, and now I'm going to try and guide run him to a PB in an ultra marathon. The problem is I haven't the faintest idea how to do an ultra marathon. All this fueling and pacing and snacks and all the rest of it, I have no idea how you do it. So yes, ironic as it may sound, it is a bit of a case of the blind leading the blind. So it's 2 hours 25 now, just finished a half marathon, going very slowly, although I did actually catch someone and overtake them, which is quite funny because it took about 20 minutes to catch them and the distance we're both going at such a slow speed, and as I approached I sped up a little bit. You don't want it to take forever, so you think I'll just nip past, but of course when you're being approached you often feel someone coming, so you speed up a bit thinking I'm not going to make it that easy, and then it ends up with a kind of foot race to see who wins, which I did win, don't worry. The race begins at 8 o'clock in the morning on the 11th of September and runs right through the day, right through the night. The plan is to listen to Test Match Special, because there's going to be a test match on that day, so pray for good weather wherever England are playing. It's really important because it's going to give us a good 8 hours of entertainment, which will kind of distract us as things go along. There'll be aid stations along the way. Every 5 or 10 miles you can stop, fill up your water bottle, there's sandwiches, snacks, bits and bobs. You're just trying to eat a little bit as you go throughout. And then there's a long night to run through, as we're aiming to finish before 8 AM the next morning. I'm told the night is the worst bit, but that I'm walking, I'm supposed to be running. I'm told the night is the worst bit, for all the reasons you can imagine, but when you begin to see the light of dawn in the morning, it really lifts you. And I'm also told that quite often it goes in cycles, so you're running along and after 40 miles you're absolutely exhausted, and then 60 miles you feel absolutely brilliant again. Now I don't know if this is true. It could be something where they make everyone who finishes an ultra race sign something to say they're going to say that, otherwise no one would ever do them if you found out what they're really like. We'll find out. I'm now here in the beautiful Bradgate Park, jewel of Leicestershire's crown. It's 4 hours 54 minutes. I've done 26.56 miles, which is further than a marathon, so that's not bad for a Sunday morning jog. A few more miles left to do. One of the things I'm planning to do I've been doing over the last couple of weeks is just trying to drop a few pounds in weight. As you can see, it's not for aesthetic reasons, but every few pounds is a few less pounds driving through your knees as you run. So I've sort of thought if I can do about half a stone, I'm nearly there, half a stone off, because when you run, you put between 2 and 3 times your body weight through your knee with each stride. And I will run with a cadence of about 170 steps per minute, something like that, which is about 85 steps. So 85 times every minute, driving double, say, so a stone through each knee. It's worth losing a few pounds, isn't it? Right, I'm now going to run up this hill behind me, which is a sort of mile-long drag. I'll see you at the top. Well, somehow I made it. Here we are, right at the top. You can see for miles and miles. You probably saw the UN climate report that came out a couple of weeks ago. It's not good news. A year ago, the charity that I work for, Song and Hymn Writers Foundation, we devised, recorded and released a collection of contemporary congregational Christian songs on ecological themes. It's unique in the world as far as I know. No one else has ever done it. It's a really important thing to sing about, because basically what we sing about in church really affects what we think is most important in the world, and this is really important right now. And as Christians, we actually believe God made all this, and so we should think it's doubly precious. We couldn't go on tour with it as we would normally do. Whoa, the wind's getting hold of my phone. We couldn't go on tour with it as we would normally do because of lockdown last year. So we're going to go on tour instead during COP26 in November. Around a bunch of churches and end up in Glasgow, where the climate summit is happening. Now it's expensive to do this stuff. To go on tour I have to pay musicians, I have to hire PA systems, we have to pay travelling and food costs and so on, and we can recoup some of that through ticket sales and other stuff. But I had a kind of £5,000 hole in that budget. I thought, well, how can I fill that? How can I persuade people to give me £5,000? And I thought, well, if I run 100 miles in 24 hours, 100 miles in one day, maybe my friends and family might pitch in a bit and we could raise that money and fill that gap. Right, it's pretty much all downhill from here. I'll see you at the bottom. Here we are then, nearly there, 29.99 miles, 5.5 hours, about to tip over to 30. Here we go, I'm on my street. Thanks for watching this run with me, thanks for listening. If you'd like to join in and sponsor, you can do by, I'll put the link below in the comments, or you might like to add some tips, suggestions, strategy, how we're going to while away those long hours without noticing all the miles we're covering, that sort of thing. Love to hear from you. Thanks ever so much for watching. Oh, here we are. Home sweet home.